Hello and welcome to another episode of Doomsday Clerk. I'm Terry Gant here at Third Coast Comics at 6443 North Sheridan Road in Chicago. We haven't done a video in a while, so I'm going to kind of do some comics, talk to you about some comics that stretch back maybe a couple of months or whatever, maybe back to like October, November, up to current, that you might want to check out. All of which should still be on shelves at comic shops near you. All of which I think are really kind of interesting things and a variety of things to get into. Some cape, some non-cape, some mystery, some sci-fi, some horror, whatever. We're going to get into it. So the first thing that I want to point out is Silver Surfer Ghostlight. It's a Silver Surfer story that should be in about 5 parts. This is issue number 1 that's come out. The reason I'm pointing it out is that writer John Jennings, who has worked on adaptations of Octavia Butler stories, Kindred, and a few others, he's gone deep into Marvel's kind of history here to pull up a character and sort of like a character that was kind of thrown away in one issue. But so John Jennings has repurposed this character and created this character Ghostlight here to create basically a new black cosmic character for Silver Surfer's universe. And that's kind of a really cool thing. You might look up John Jennings, look up things called Black Kirby, right? Black Kirby was an art exhibit John did back maybe like 10 years or so ago, where he really did an awesome, him and his art partner did a really awesome, Stacey Robinson's the name of his art partner. They did a fantastic remix of everything that was kind of black culture and hip hop with like Jack Kirby's imagery and other kind of like old school Silver Age comics imagery. That is the kind of like creativity John has, and creating Ghostlight here is a kind of pretty cool move. Next up, I've got Declan Shalvey's Old Dog. One of the cool things here is it's not just the story of the character, the main character being a guy who's like an ex kind of special forces kind of dude who's sort of he's retired, but he's like dragged back in to like make sure missions kind of go right, and he gets really pulled in situations he didn't want to be involved in anymore. But the best part about this is every issue is self-contained. So even though you were going to go, first issue, second issue, third issue, etc., it doesn't matter which ones you pick up because they're all just one and done. The whole thing is done in whatever 27, 23 pages, 24 pages, whatever this is. So these days comics don't really work out that way. They want you to kind of get a whole story or wait for a trade or something. Here you don't have to trade wait. You can just go grab whatever issues are on shelves, and you're going to get a great kind of an espionage story, a spy thriller kind of thing that's really dope. So I would say check that out. Next up, there's a multi-part story that Marvel's been running in its Avengers comics, particularly Avengers and Avengers Forever, right? But it starts with Avengers Assemble Alpha, and essentially what they're doing is they've been doing a story that is sort of about multiversal Avengers. You're getting different versions of Avengers from different universes, all kind of like fighting like Mephisto as the one common enemy. And it all leads up to the revelation of like there being one prime Avenger, one Avenger who's like the Avenger at the beginning of time. It also involves the Avengers from like I guess the Avengers 1 million BC. I think that's what they're called, which is like Odin and the Phoenix and the Black Panther Force or whatever it is. Like all these like old school like mystical entities that get used a lot of times in the Marvel universe are actually an Avengers team way at like the beginning of time or whatever. Those characters are involved. They've been shown a few times, and there's a lot of interest in them from the public. And people wanting to see more. Now you get to see more. That story just concluded this month, right? But all the issues should still be out on shelves, and it's only like maybe 6 parts. So all you really have to get is you get this Avengers Assemble Alpha book here, and then buy 2 or 3 issues of the Avengers and 2 or 3 issues of Avengers Forever, and you're really done, right? It's pretty good. I would say if you want to get it in floppies, they're all available. If you want to wait, you can wait. It might be like a hardcover coming out from Marvel in a couple of months anyway, but I'm a fan of going out and getting those single issues while you still can. Next up, a pretty hefty trade paperback from Image Comics called What's the Furthest Place From Here? It's a post-apocalyptic story. The world is basically ended, but what we've got now are like bands of like youth kind of like stuck in the crumbling remnants of the world or whatever, and they're kind of like just they're doing everything from like hanging out to like trying to figure out what happened to some of their friends who disappeared. Like it's an adventure story, it's a hangout story, it's slacker comics, it's like horror comics, it's all these things kind of in one, right? It really does, to me, it kind of feels like if the world were to kind of like crumble tomorrow, what would you and your friends be doing to like kind of like put your lives back together? How would you do it or whatever? And it's got some dark moments, but also it's got some like pretty cool moments in it, right? And I'm gonna say that for $20, this kind of like has the density of something that should probably cost you about 30. So there's value in the sort of post-apocalyptic, like, old school youth kind of having to like make the world, fix the world kind of, or at least live in the world kind of a comic story. Next up from Boom Studios is Grimm. Grimm is basically the story of like the Grim Reaper is like not Grim Reapering anymore, and somebody else gets to become the new Grim Reaper, right? So it's the how do I say the internship program for someone becoming the new entity of death or whatever, and it's kind of like done in a nice modern, like kind of fun hip way, right? So I would say if you want to like read something that's dark but also doesn't feel like too heavy, but is about a dark heavy subject, then check out Grimm from Boom by Stephanie Phillips. This tome I'm holding is a complete The Killer, right? It's European style comics about a hired assassin that is cleverly paced, really well put together. Apparently, Netflix is about to do a film about it, done by David Fincher. Like a lot of things are often come out with like Netflix's interest and things like that. I wouldn't worry about that part too much. Whether it does or doesn't happen makes no difference. This is a fantastic book. It is one of the coolest sort of spy thrillers or like kind of assassin thrillers maybe that I've read probably in the last like 10, 15 years. When I realized it was going to be collected in one whole volume, I didn't realize this would be the size of the volume, but for like about 50, 55 bucks or whatever, it's a great bargain for comics that are like kind of like Western style comics per se, but not like American style comics, right? So you're gonna get the kind of like pacing and design that you're gonna get from things like Black Sad and stuff like that, right? So not necessarily anthropomorphic animals, but this is gonna be if you like Go-Go 13 and you like The Professional and you like movies like that, you're probably gonna love The Killer. I would say absolutely get into this if that's your thing. If you like that spy noir kind of thing, then you ought to get into this book. And that's pretty much everything I've got for you today. Again, I am Terry Gant here at Third Coast Comics at 6443 North Sheridan Road. If you want to get any of these books, you can get them from our shop. You can get them from every other comic shop in the land. But whatever you do, go out to a comic shop and find some of these books and put them in your hands. Thanks.